Now, this is shocking. This happened in Paris. About 200 Muslim protesters got together to protest AFP. They thought AFP, and if you don't know that, that's like the Associated Press in France, was not giving fair coverage to Muslims. They demanded better coverage, right? Now, who are these guys to demand better coverage? You get the coverage that is based on the news, right? We're not going to change the news to, please you and your ideological beliefs, right? Certainly not going to change it to make your religion look any better. I think we can all agree to that. And then here's a scary moment. David Perrotin was in the crowd. He's a journalist for Buzzfeed. And apparently they didn't like the way he was covering things. You know what they did? First, they threatened him. They said it wasn't good to take photos, they told him, to take any photos of them because they don't want, now they're willing to attack him, but they don't want their picture taken. Okay, interesting. Then one protester said to him, I know who you are. I have information about you. You are David Perrotin. I don't know how that guy found out about who this reporter is, but imagine you're that reporter. You're pretty angry and scared, right? There's these 200 angry Muslim protesters, and one of them says, I know who you are, right? At that point, the reporter starts running towards the cops to get protection. And in fact, BuzzFeed reports then, Perrotin rushed towards the police line in front of the AFP, but was stopped by a group of masked men who proceeded to beat him. My God, okay? I think we could all agree this is absolutely outrageous. And they went on to explain on Mediaite, the journalist managed to make it to the line, but not before also being hit by police officers who didn't realize that he was a reporter. Perrotin was escorted to safety 45 minutes later. Oh my God, can you imagine? And this is what they're talking about. Europe is being taken over by Muslims, and now the cops are even helping them beat innocent reporters like this because they didn't like the coverage of their religion or their particular ideology. Oh, right, these were not Muslim protesters, they were Jewish protesters. This was the Jewish Defense League, and there was 200 protesters from them, and they did not like that Perrotin or the AFP, a different organization, was giving what they viewed to be pro-Palestinian coverage. And that is not to be tolerated. So if you see a reporter giving an honest coverage of the news, well, you call that pro-Palestinian and you beat him with masked men. Now, I know that if you were outraged when you thought it was Muslims, you're equally outraged when it's the Jewish Defense League, right? That's why it's been all over the news. I mean, that's why CNN is covering this nonstop. Fox News is covering it nonstop. Oh, they're not covering it at all. Well, that's interesting. I know when Muslims do any kind of attack, that is wall-to-wall coverage. Jewish Defense League does it. Okay. Now, I am opposed to all fundamentalists. So I despise it when Muslims do it, and I despise it when anyone else does it, including this so-called Jewish Defense League that does not speak for all other Jews. You see, here among progressives, we're reasonably intelligent, and we understand that when some Muslims do attacks, they don't represent all Muslims. And when some Jews attack a reporter in the Jewish Defense League, they most certainly don't represent all Jews. Now, you would never say that the Jewish Defense League that attacked that guy as a reporter, they did it with masks on, they did it to intimidate him. You wouldn't say that they represent all Jews and we got to watch out for the Jews. Maybe we should profile them. You wouldn't say, I hope to God you wouldn't say that, right? I certainly wouldn't say that because I'm a progressive. But when it comes to Muslims, well, I mean, can't we just profile them all? Don't a couple of bad guys represent the entire 1.6 billion people religion? It's preposterous when you say it about Jews or Christians or Muslims. Now, the JDL and similar organizations have been, quote, involved in attacks on pro-Palestinian media commentators and politicians. And in the case of Perrotin, the guy who said, I know who you are, and gave his name said, wait, I'll tell the JDL that you're here. And then he got set upon. Okay. So I don't know much about the Jewish Defense League outside of this story, so I don't want to make assumptions about the whole group. But now let's do what the right wing always does, which is, but have the leaders apologized for the actions of these masked men who clearly at least in this protest, were from the Jewish Defense League? No. They, of course, said that they deny any responsibility, and they went on to insult Perotin again, calling him a pseudo-journalist. Well, if you weren't the one attacking him, why are you calling him a pseudo-journalist and now trying to add insult to injury? Perhaps you were the ones who were attacking him, and your leaders are doing absolutely nothing about it. Now, if we were right-wing, we would then say all Jews need to denounce the Jewish Defense League, otherwise they're all guilty. But we're not right-wing because we're smart, okay? We know that that's a preposterous thing to say. No one has any responsibility for this attack other than the people who actually did the attack and ordered the attack, okay? It doesn't say anything about any race or religion outside of that. Can we please have the same rules for everybody? Is that too much to ask for? And can you please stop beating up reporters who you don't agree with? Is that too much to ask for? I think neither one of those things should be very hard to understand or abide by, but apparently some do not.